Hey there, welcome back to Horsemanship Help. It is a cold day here in New Hampshire and we've canceled lessons, so I thought I would do a video on tack cleaning. And a lot of people don't know when they're starting, that you have to clean your tack. It gets oily, gets dry. You need to inspect the pressure points to make sure that they're holding up and that they're secure. So that's why and how often. Now, I do my tack awesome once a year. Pull it apart, take everything apart, um, do it with a toothbrush in the parts that are really dirty. So once a year, I do a super job. About two other times a year, I'll do a quick little spot job, not taking everything apart and just kind of touching over it. The best leather, it's kind of interesting. The best things are the things that actually get used and used a lot. The bridles on my school horses that do a lot of lessons and get a lot of use. They might have a little dirt at certain spots, but the rest of it has a nice suppleness to it. And they're much different than the bridles that on some of the school horses that aren't being used as much. And so use is a good thing. But you do need to check for the safety spots. So, when I was at Colorado State University, we used to have to clean our tack after every ride. I got a little turned off to having students clean tack with that, not because I was afraid of cleaning tack, but that we were in a rush to get to the bus to get back to the campus, that a lot of people just kind of put a little water on it and to make it look like it had been cleaned. And water's bad for leather, too much water. And so I got a little bit turned off of thinking about having students clean tack. But I do have to say that all my students this year were very, very helpful during COVID when we were supposed to clean everything we touched. So everybody was very kind to wipe down their saddles and bridles and stuff during COVID. But other than that, I clean our tack. So what do you clean it with? When I was a kid, you had the glycerin bar. Looked like a little piece of gold. It was orange yellow, and it worked. It worked good. I mean, it worked fine. Nowadays, for the spot jobs, I use Lexol, um, and these are both a liquid. And so one day I'll do the cleaner. You have to kind of let it dry, and then the next day do a conditioner. There are tons of things out there. It really, there's so many. And also Lexol, I know this is a Lysol thing, but they also make wipes. And those are kind of handy to do a quick job. So there's a lot of companies that have wipes that you can just easily clean or condition your tack. Right now, I'm a big fan of the Steuben. I do not know how to pronounce either one of these, but this is the cleaner and this is the conditioner. These are about $18 and those were about $12. So it's a little bit more expensive, but you don't use very much. So it really doesn't matter what you use, but when you're done, the leather should feel like your skin after you have had a nice conditioner. It should not be super greasy. It should not be really dry, and the leather or skin should feel very good and supple. Okay, so it should feel non-greasy and non-dry. So whatever you end up using. So when you go, let me see where I have it. I have a 2-chamber bucket that I use. I have an old kitchen sponge cut up that I use for cleaning. And also I don't know where my toothbrush went, but I also have a toothbrush that I use. And also you're going to need some sort of towel. So when you get going, and I usually sit down in front of the TV and sit down on the floor, have a towel on the carpet, and I clean my tack. And I listen to Horsemanship DVDs. Can't really watch them because you're watching with what you're doing, but you can listen to them. So good use of your time. So when you clean your tack, there's spots that you want to look for the safety. Okay, so here we have an English bridle. All of our horses have an English bridle and a Western bridle. They both have snaffles, but the Western bridles have McCarty's so it's a little different, and but they all have snaffles. But for today, I'm going to show you the points that you want to look for, okay, of wear. You want to look, when you take this off, for the wear under here. Come down to the bit, okay, and right in there, when you take it off, you want to look to make sure that it's not cracked. Cracked is usually the big thing, and that it feels that it's okay. So that's the pressure point on obviously on both sides. And then you have your noseband or cavesson, and this is a big one. Okay, we use the noseband as a spot to put our lunge lines on with our beginning people. So you want to make sure that there are no cracks and that it is good. So the noseband or cavesson is very important. So those are the spots that you want to look for wear and tear that are important. And if anything's bad, replace it. We have some bridles that have parts of old bridles with it. Okay. Now, when you are doing a bridle, like I said, these are kind of dry ones because these horses get ridden Western more. But this sort of buckle, which I don't know what it's called, I should find out. This is for a rein on an English bridle, and that's what the back of it looks like. So when you want to go and open it up, you are going to push this way down on it, and this little pin here, that's going to pop out. So if you can work it, see I'm lifting up here as I push that way there, okay? Now it's starting to come out okay, but if it did not, what you would do is take a screwdriver, put it into that part. Can you see that part? Okay, and you can use the leverage from the screwdriver to open it. And again, you're going to pull this way with that and push that way with that. And that comes off that little pin. Okay? And when you're checking for the safety of things, you do want to make sure that this pin is secure, it's not wobbly. And make sure that some of the nicer bridles have this extra little piece that gives extra protection against breakage or cracks. But you want to make sure that both of them are in good shape. Okay, so that's what you do for checking for the safety of things. And with the bit, I've only had one bit that ever really got wore out. But you just want to kind of put your fingers there and just kind of rotate it around and just feel that there's no sharp spots there. Okay, and so and also here, if there's no sharp spots. But I mean, a bit's got to be pretty old to get wore out. So, so that's that. Now, when we go to clean the tack, okay, I'm going to take my little sponge. Okay, it's all wet. I'm going to take my Steuben cleaner, or whatever cleaner you're using, and you're just going to clean it off. Okay, now this says it's supposed to stay on. Okay, now if I came in here, these are pretty clean, but some of the bridles that I do this winter, that is going to be dirty. And that's where I would take my toothbrush and softly work it with a little bit of water and then dry it off so that it didn't get too wet. And so after you put on the cleaner, you're going to let it sit overnight until it dries. Okay, then you're going to take your rag and clean and buff it. And then once it has had a chance to dry all by itself, you're then, actually I don't use a sponge for this, I like just using my hand. You just take a teeny piece of the conditioner, okay? And you just work the conditioner in, and you just very, very little. And you just work it around, okay? And then your skin's gonna be so soft, okay? So, and then once it's in, and you obviously clean and condition both sides of your leather, okay? So after it has been conditioned, I would let it sit overnight, soak in. Again, I would clean it, and then I would put my bridle back together. Okay, so I hope this was a little help, and it's a good project to do on a cold, snowy day. All right, this has been Kim Meyer with Horsemanship Help, and remember, I deeply care that you stay safe, you succeed, and you enjoy your horse. All right, till next time.